Universal Studios has found themselves in a pickle because the trailer for the new How to Train Your Dragon live action film has actually leaked on the internet in high quality. Also, James Gunn has been chatting about everything going on with the DC universe and what he's kind of building for this new iteration, and things are sounding quite good. And I do have a little bit of information about the new Captain America movie, which has intrigued me a little bit because it sounds like we've got a new Falcon on the way. As always, hop on to criticalist.com or download us in the App Store and go ahead and review anything that you've been watching lately. I know a lot of people are starting up their Christmas movie stuff because you're monsters and you watch Christmas movies before Thanksgiving. You freaks. And on to the news here. So I actually found this out from Geeks and Gamers X account because I started looking on the internet and couldn't find the trailer. They're already working to scrub this thing, and I am not going to play it on this channel. I just got out of jail, so I'm just going to talk about this, and you can see an image here actually of one of the big characters from the How to Train Your Dragon movie. Now, if you haven't been watching these over the years, they're a series that's been going on for quite some time, and I don't know that I've seen anything other than the first one, but I can attest to the fact that first How to Train Your Dragon film was fantastic. It is a great animated movie, and Universal Studios seems to be really leaning into this world. They are actually even having a How to Train Your Dragon universe within Universal Studios Florida's Epic Universe thing that they are currently building. So they're really banking on the How to Train Your Dragon brand, which is a smart move. I think this is a really cool franchise, and it's pretty approachable and fun, and doing it in live action makes sense. I am not one of those folks who is constantly poo-pooing anything that is live action. If it's good, I'll watch it. If it's fun and interesting and gives me something new while giving me all the things that I loved from the original thing, then sure, why not? So I'm game for this. I understand the people that don't, but I'm just not in that boat. But we actually get a look at the main character Hiccup in this trailer, along with Gerard Butler's Stoic, who is the father of Hiccup. So that's who this is right here, is Stoic, and I'm going to click through, but like I said, I'm not going to play it. Everything in this trailer looks really cool, and this shot specifically where they show all the dragons, it looks really neat, and it looks like kind of the vibe from the first film. And basically the big thing that they show here is the primary dragon from the series, who I'm blanking on his name currently, but I'm sure that someone in the comments will correct me. But you get this kind of scale of his dragon, and then the lead character here, and it looks just like the animated version. He looks fantastic. I think they did a pretty good job. The CG looks pretty good, and the live action actor that's playing Hiccup looks mostly like him. So everything that we've seen so far is pretty promising. They've updated the logo here for the live action version, and I think that there's a lot of that they can work with here with this franchise if this movie is done right and if it is good. I didn't know a whole lot about it. I mean, we've got the cast listed out here, and I'm not super familiar with Dean DeBlois, but it looks like he's also attached to this Lilo and Stitch movie, and also the some other How to Train Your Dragon things. So it sounds like he's experienced with this franchise and very familiar with it. He did the screenplay for the first one, so it sounds like he's a good choice for this movie, and I hope it's good. I do want to hear y'all's thoughts. If you can find this trailer on the internet, definitely watch it and let me know. And this is definitely a teaser. It's very short. It's a minute long, and not a whole lot is shown, but you kind of get a vibe and an idea of what the movie is. It's only showing stuff from the very beginning, but I am really curious about this. I think it's going to be fun, and I'll probably watch it for sure when it comes out in theaters, because nowadays I pretty much watch everything being running Criticalist and all that. So next up is James Gunn, and him talking about the Peacemaker show, but he's also commenting on the future of rated R films within the DC universe. And so I thought both of these things connected pretty well, and he's basically just doing a lot of press, especially with the new show that he's coming out called Creature Commandos. This is actually the first part of the DC universe, which a lot of people don't know, and it's an interesting approach to make an animated film, the very first film that kicks off this DC universe, but the art looks really really cool. I am all for these types of characters, you know, your monster universe characters, and Universal has totally dropped the ball with their monster universe. So I'll take what I can get, whether we got it here with Marvel or with DC, or if Marvel does kind of their version of this. But the Creature Commandos are cool, and they are bringing back one of, well, I say bringing back, this is the dad of Rick Flag from the other film, the Suicide Squad film that James Gunn did. So this will be interesting what they do with this and how it ties into furthering the DC universe. But basically, with this article, he's touching on Peacemaker, and there was a lot of controversy around the Peacemaker show and if it was going to connect to this new DC universe, if it was going to be real or not. And basically what this boils down to is that he is saying that yes, basically everything in the Peacemaker television show is canon except for one singular scene. And I mean, he's even carrying over characters like Weasel into this show right here, who was in his Suicide Squad movie. And also, obviously, if you saw that, then you know that that's kind of where we got the birth of Peacemaker as well. I had heard that people are kind of divided on the Peacemaker show. I didn't realize that when it was out, but I think the show's great, super funny. It's on Max if you want to check it out. If you haven't watched it yet, just know it is very adult, very over the top and ridiculous, but I found it to be pretty funny, and I thought they did a really good job with it. So what he says here is the truth is almost all of Peacemaker is canon with the exception of Justice League, which we will kind of deal with in the next season of Peacemaker. Now, here's a tiny bit of a spoiler for Peacemaker, but essentially at the very end of the Peacemaker show, bail out for just one 30-second cut here, but some of the Justice League shows up from the previous Justice League movies. It is Aquaman and the Flash. They show up, have a funny little scene, and that's it, which shows that they had connected to it. And apparently in the next season of Peacemaker, which is going to happen pretty soon here, and they're filming, or maybe even already filmed at this point, they are going to address that version of Flash and Aquaman, I'm guessing in a probably comedic way, but that will actually tell us what James Gunn's thoughts are on the previous DCEU, and if this is a multiverse or what in the world is happening with connecting all these things. But it sounds like he's going to do it right, so I'm pretty excited about that. The other thing that he touches on here is these rated R movies and shows and stuff, and with this Creature Commandos, I'm hearing that it's rated R. Peacemaker is rated R, so him kicking off this universe with rated R movies is interesting, because the first big film is the Superman film, which I'm guessing is probably going to be PG-13. I highly doubt it would get a PG rating. That would be kind of wild, but it's one of those that'll probably be PG-13, but your younger audience can still watch it. So basically what he's saying here is he says we're not about that. We're not about see how it does. We've got one opportunity to take these characters and really press forward and do what we believe, Gunn told Collider. I am a great believer that if we tell good, authentic stories, if a movie does well or doesn't do well, if you keep with the same philosophy that you're going to build a universe that people are going to love and want to be a part of for a long time. So basically what he's painting here and saying is he's like, I have a plan. I'm sticking to the plan. I'm not going to be abandoning a bunch of things just because one movie or show doesn't do quite as well as I like. And honestly, I think that that's a fairly smart move if you're going to be building a universe. Now, if you're kicking off something new, kind of like the Dark Universe thing that Universal tried and it didn't work with that Mummy film, that's a little more difficult because they were like, look at all of these things that we're going to do in the future, and then one movie does bad and they tank the whole thing. That was insane. It made no sense. They should have just kept going and kept pushing, taking their lumps with that Mummy movie, and not just been like, oh, everybody's going to hate this. Like, no, it would have been fine. The first one doesn't have to be a perfect success, and most of the time it's probably not gonna be. So what he says here is it's not about testing out to see if this thing works. It's just about telling a story. If a story is going to be rated R, we're totally okay with that. We're going to be PG, PG-13, or G, I don't care. Whatever is worthy of the story, and that's what we're going to do. And the fact that he's even entertaining, honestly, G and PG movies for a possibility in this superhero universe, that's not something that Marvel has really even messed with at this point. So that's pretty cool. I think James Gunn is a pretty open-minded guy. He's got a lot of good plans. He was very good for Marvel, and I think he's a good choice for DC. I don't know how controversial that take is, but DC needs a shakeup. They need things done right, and I think they need to separate themselves in tone and atmosphere from what Marvel's doing, so this is probably a good idea. Now, the last piece of news here is actually about Marvel, and Look, I'm going to be honest, this has come up on this channel before with me and this movie, but I am not excited about Captain America Brave New World. I'm not excited about Sam Wilson's version of Captain America. I think that with their Captain America and Winter Soldier television show where they made him Captain Do Better, and just lectured everybody about social, political, politics stuff, it didn't work. It wasn't good, and it was really just part of Marvel kickstarting off their like, hey, we're going to make Marvel political now. We're going to make statements. We're going to lean into everything that is going on with culture to do with politics and make sure that we tick off at least half of our audience. It's just an insane business decision for a company that was doing so well. And I just really don't think that Falcon was teed up to be the person to handle and take the mantle of Captain America. I think it should have been Bucky and Winter Soldier, and then down the road maybe Falcon taking it. I just think that this was a bad move in general. He's not a super soldier. He doesn't have any powers. He's very human, and they've got this first movie with him kicking off against a different version of the Hulk, which is insane. How is he going to be able to keep up with the Hulk and not just be crushed into a paste? So it doesn't really make sense for me and him going up against Red Hulk. So the little piece of news here is it says that Captain America Brave New World director reveals one of the MCU's biggest themes. And what he's saying that the theme is that basically they are going to pair Captain America up with this Danny Ramirez actor who is going to be returning as Joaquin Torres, who's apparently going to be the new Falcon. They are claiming that they teased this in that Falcon and Winter Soldier show. I do not remember it. I did not know that that's what they were doing, but also that show left an extremely bad taste in my mouth, and I left it honestly angry and thought it was trash. So it was just more of the same with these Marvel shows, but I'm interested with this relationship and what they're planning on building and giving us this new Falcon. Falcon has always been a cool character, but I honestly thought that Anthony Mackie was a great Falcon and would have loved to see him continue to be that character, grow and develop him. But instead, we're going to have him as the new Cap. And so what he says here is that there's an incredible big brother, little brother dynamic between them, he explained. It's going to be one of the key emotional centers of the film. So that's the plan. They're just going to make this kind of linchpin with him passing on what he learned from being the Falcon to this new Falcon, and maybe it'll be cool and interesting. There was a photo here that was shared as well of these characters. He doesn't have the wings yet, but you can see this is kind of a new look to the Falcon character, and you can kind of see the jetpack here as well. And apparently he's going to have sort of jetpack as well as this version of Captain America he did in the show. And we'll see. We'll see how he does his Cap. The word on the street about this movie is not great. There was apparently a lot of reshoots, a ballooned budget, a lot of bad test screenings. So this might be another dud for Marvel, which does not bode well for the future of the MCU. I really hope it is good, though. I want the MCU to succeed. I want it to do well. And I have always loved the MCU until I didn't, and they started really just hurting the brand. So we'll see with this movie. This is an interesting approach that they're taking with it. I haven't watched any more trailers. I really don't want to see them because I've stepped away from trailers of late because they tend to just spoil the crap out of everything, and I'd rather just go in uninfluenced and looking for certain scenes that happen in the trailer, that sort of thing. It's just not my bag. So anyways, let me know your thoughts on all of this stuff down below. What do you think about what James Gunn is doing with the DC Universe and Peacemaker being completely canon? I think that was a smart move, and that was his show and what he made anyways, so it makes sense that would carry over. And with this Creature Commando stuff, and even maybe most importantly, what do you think about this leaked How to Train Your Dragon trailer? And if you can spot it for yourself, I basically showed you all the snippets, just not with music and stuff, but I am interested to hear everybody's thoughts on all of this, and make sure to visit criticalist.com, drop your reviews, make some friends, and just have a good time. So we will see you guys again soon, hopefully with more news tomorrow. Everybody take it easy. See ya.